Hello, welcome to Full Circle Florals. I'm Erin Henderson. So it is super hot here. So we're in the Northern California Valley. And so we're having temperatures ranging from like the 112s up to 116. So we're kind of just hanging out, trying to let the flowers do their thing. They've been fertilized, they're being watered consistently. They are actually doing really good down at the U-Pick. So now it's just kind of some housekeeping stuff and a lot of office stuff inside because honestly, it's just too hot to be outside. It's searing. You go outside and your skin kind of melts. So that's no fun. So to celebrate that, we are A, super hydrating, and B, hiding inside. But it is okay if you go out early in the morning. So I'm going to head out and I'm going to grab some stuff that is for collecting seed. So I think for sure I've got Honeywort and burple. Those ones for sure. I'm going to check what else I've got out there. I'll show you that view of actually cutting them and talking about what I'm doing, and then we'll bring them in here and show you a little bit of processing for them. So ultimately, this is a good video, I feel like, to be doing at this time because I don't have to be out there too long, and there's really nothing going on with the U-Pick other than the blackberry picking, which has been awesome. So let's go outside and get us some seeds. So this is kind of the primary Echinacea patch currently. There's plenty enough. I think I'm going to be able to harvest some leaves and petals for tea. And then it looks like there might be some, not really ready for seed collecting. So I think this one is just going to be for just herbal consumption. So we're going to go ahead and do that. I see. So since I am using these for an herbal concoction, I'm going to look for leaves that are pretty healthy. So I'll probably take this leaf here. That one there. Just a nice green leaf. Put it in my bucket. And then I just picked flowers that either had some, some bugs probably ate a little bit of them, so I can't use them as cut flowers anyways. They had a little browning. So I'll cut those bits off and we'll dry those in the leaves. As far as the flowers go, like this head here is probably a good example of one that I would take. It's got a little bit of browning, and I'm not taking a ton, and I'm taking as little as I possibly can. So here, just going that far down. It's hard to hold this at the same time. There we go. Okay, there we go. I guess I need my little neck recorder. Anyway, that's what I'm taking off so that I can dry that bit. And then any of the rest of these I'll probably leave so that they can make seed heads. Look at how beautiful. Look at how beautiful those are. They just are so bright and glowy. So yeah, that's what's going to happen. We're going to leave the rest of these here so that they can make some new seeds. I'm hoping to do that with several of my items. I don't know. Do these make seeds? These are the crespita, the little balls. I don't know. We're going to find out. Okay, so the seeding, the burple. They did really good this year. I really liked them, but I left these ones to go ahead and seed. You can see the dark spots that are in here. Those are the seed heads. So I'm just going to cut the whole plant at the base, right here, both of these. There's two here together, like that. And stick the whole thing. They're dried in place. So they've probably already seeded a bunch, and I just shoved it in the bucket. And you can already see down in the bottom of the bucket down there, there's seeds that have come off their original seed head. There they go. So I'm just going to leave them kind of as is for a while, let them dry a little bit further. And you can see there's multiples throughout here. I'm going to harvest all of those. I feel pretty confident that some have already dropped seeds through here, so they'll probably reseed themselves next year, and that's great. That's exactly what we want. So I'm going to get to the rest of these here and get them put in the bucket. I came over to the Honeywort because I did look up how to save their seeds, and I learned that they seed by explosive mechanism. meaning when the seed pod, which I think I saw one that still has a pod on it. Okay, so here's one that still has a little bit of a fresh pod. This here is the flowering part of it. When it's ready, it will explode open, sending the seeds wherever it sends them, however that works. So I came out to see if I could seed them, and it said that they did this explosive seeding thing. And yeah, they're right. All of the old ones, when I peel these back here, see if I can get in here, there's nothing in there. So I'm gonna guess that they've already seeded themselves. In fact, while I was over here looking, I did see, so here's the last of the honeywort here, and I did see this here, 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 and here, and I'm pretty sure those are baby honeyworts starting already. So that's great news. I don't see any through, oh, no, I take it back. Right here, there we go. So it looks like, oh, here's some of the seeds. There we go, they're on the ground. That's fun. So I might go through here then. I can see the little white spots. That's the end of that seed pod. Oh boy, and they're all over the walkway over there. Yeah, they must really explode out of here then. So now that I see what they look like, I'm gonna go ahead and collect some because I wanna be able to put some at the flower farm in addition to having them here. So here's one that's, what is that little, oh my gosh, do you see that grasshopper? You can't hardly tell. Watch, ready? Oh, he's gonna let me touch him. That's weird. Okay. So anyway, that grasshopper's there on that honeywort. Look at those cute little flowers. They're just so dainty, like little purple shrimps. Anyway, that's the only one that's currently living, but there's gonna be some that come up. I don't know if they'll end up making plants that actually make flowers this season. I'm gonna guess that they're gonna overwinter, hopefully, and then they'll continue to do their thing. So I'm gonna go about seeing if I can collect some of these seeds, just enough to be able to plant some right in the ground at the flower farm, so we can have them at the flower farm as well as at the subscription garden. So here we go. Thanks for coming to my TED Talk. Okay, so I just wanted to see if I could show underneath this plant, these little, right here, right here, right here. They look like pebbles, but they have a little white spot where they're detaching from the seed pod. That's what we're looking for. And it's kind of hard to see, but they are all underneath here. So I'm getting a pretty good crop. Here's what I've got so far. Not bad. I'm thinking we'll probably have a nice row where we just let them perennialize, because it sounds like they, or I don't know if perennialize would be the word, but let them reseed themselves every year. So I think I'm gonna collect a bit more, and then we'll be good. We won't have to hopefully do that again, because honeywort's pretty good that way. This guy's probably gonna send some seed there. You can see the pod where it ejected the seed already. That's this here. That's where the seeds used to be. So it looks like those might be, I don't know if they've done it yet. Let's get in there and see if we can see. Oh, look, see, there's a little seed in there. Hasn't ejected yet. So I'm gonna guess that it's gonna be easiest for me this time just to go ahead and collect them like this off of the ground around them. Then these guys can readily redo them thing. I'll have a patch here and we'll have a patch in the cut garden. So there it is, honeywort, Cerinthe. Not sure how to pronounce that, but anyway, there we go. Let's do it. Okay, so we are looking at harvesting some cress for seed. You can see this is definitely looking like it's dry and ready to go. There's several of them that I'm gonna pull out of here. At least these two that are good and dry. I didn't see a reason to take them out of here until they were really ready. So I'm just gonna cut them right down at the base here and take them inside like that hole, and then I can feather these little guys will feather off into a bucket, and then take that bucket and put them into my little seed saving pouches. That's all I'm doing for cress. Look at this guy. Bold and brazen, that thing. Those grasshoppers, the worst. All right, next thing we're gonna seed collect is from these bachelor buttons here. There are still several bits that are harvestable and usable for bouquets. Those are really pretty. But there are some plants that died off a little bit here, and they just have a ton of seed. sitting there waiting to be collected. So if I take my finger here and I roll it over top of this, these seeds pop out. There are several in this one doesn't really want to let go yet. Let's try another one. Okay, they're not ready. It might be a little hard to see, but when you kind of pull at this a little bit, these seeds pop off of there. There they are. And so then that's what you will use to make new babies next year. So we plan to have a kind of a more meadowy, less water needs area. So we're definitely going to reseed some of these guys into that area down by the flower farm. And that's just going to be kind of a pretty area that is just to look at more than to pick from. So these guys are definitely going there. So I'm going to I'm just going to cut them way at the base there and take the whole plant that's died off. And then I'll take them inside and cut the seed heads off into a little bucket. Make sure the seeds come apart and then save them in my little seed pouch for making a beautiful little wild area down at the flower farm next year. So I'm getting to it here. Back inside with our bounty of our harvest here. This here is one of the cress that I snagged, and I just cut it right at the base, the ground level, from a stalk, left the roots in place. They can feed the soil and that'll be great. But you can see these nice spires here. All of those there's little seed bits all over. So I'm going to say that's going to be pretty easy to process. Let me grab. So what I usually do is take something like a plate. You can be a paper plate. I use Corel for everything. So I'm just going to use my Corel, but I'm just going to select one of these little bits here, and then we can set this aside. Don't necessarily need that. So here we go. We've got our little set of cress. I'm just going to take it, and I guess closer to the plate's probably better, and rub it between my fingers. I don't know. Honestly, I'm not sure. This is my first time saving them. This is the instructions I'm getting. Is you basically just take it off the seed pod, or it'll do it itself and self-sow maybe. And then you end up with just seeds on the plate. Okay, so here's the little branch of cress that I was referring to before. And all I did was grab the hold of the top, just kind of like you would remove the branches or the leaves on a stalk of flowers when you're arranging, and pull it backwards a little bit. It's a little pokey. It's giving me a little bit of a pushback, but I'll just kind of do that. And then you end up with stalks aside with these seeds here. And it does look like, so there's this little tiny, I think that's actually inside of the seed casing. So I'm gonna squeeze this a little bit. Yeah. So it looks like you can kind of squeeze them a little bit, and then that seed is actually inside of that protective sleeve. There's an example there. That little tiny dot there is what you're trying to get at. So you do, looks like I'm not sure if you 100% have to break those open, or if they wouldn't just naturally break open out in the wild if they're self-seeding or self-sowing. But they're not too hard to just kind of squeeze, they pop. So you can probably just squish those bits, and now look, all the little dark seeds, actual seeds. So those ones are just a little covering. Wow, so that's interesting. That's a first for me, so thumbs up for that. So next up is this little guy. This is what was the big blue, there's a little weed stick on there. The big blue bachelor's buttons. So these have, once they kind of end their bloom cycle, so this one it's getting closer to the end of its bloom cycle. You can see there it's got these cute little, I'm assuming these are the actual little flowers, so it's on inflorescence. Don't quote me on that. But after these go away, they dry up, and then this pops open, and you can pull it, and then those are the seeds that come off right there. We're just taking this little seed pod here. You can see it's all tucked in there nice. I'm just going to pull this back and then kind of pull it off, and you can see the little seeds that are there, and they can just drop down onto the plate.
might be easier. I'm thinking the easiest way. This is some quasi new for me. I feel like I might have collected some for my bachelor's buttons last year, but I don't really recall. But I don't know if those ones look like they're not probably so viable. You can kind of feel with your thumb the size of them. See, these are big, healthy. Here. Those look like good ones. Let's push them all into the center there. So that's not bad. That's not a ton per blossom, really. I think this one I've already kind of pushed these out. Well, no, there's quite a few more. Those are just popping right out of there. Easy day. So I'm really excited to get to sow these in the little meadow area. These poppies. I've got a whole section, which I'm gonna probably do a, let's see, oh, that looked like there was one more in there. I'm gonna probably do a seed inventory video, and we'll kind of talk about what I've got left and what I'm gonna just check on these, because these are kind of still tucked in a little bit. I'm gonna see if they have anything in there. There's a few. I don't know if I would. Yeah, no, there's some. Okay, so that's cool. Looks like you can, even when they're not completely exploded open, I would assume if they're dry, which these look like they're pretty dry, that you can pull them open. It's pretty dry. I guess we'll find out, won't we? Need to Google that. This one doesn't have as many. But it definitely didn't look like they were going to explode open any further. So I guess it's worth a try if you want to dig into it. So anyway, when we do the seed inventory, we'll take a look at what we've got in there, and I'll show you what I'm planning for the wildflower area. I guess we'll call it a meadow. This wild maniac here is the burpleum. Let's just take this little bit from the bottom here. So I just harvested these plants whole. Most of them got shoved down in this bucket, and then these were a few that stayed whole, just because I figured it would be easier to transplant them. But these, looks like you just kind of rub them, and the seeds fall right out. Here's a detailed shot. Let's see if we can bring this in a little closer. You can see those little black spots, that's the seeds. And I just let these dry right out there. So I'm sure that some of them already have fallen out so that it's self-seed right there in the cut garden. These are gonna be to sow in the new cut flower, and the U-pick garden, sorry. So I'm just gonna take my thumb and kind of tickle this, and you can see them start to fall down. That's easy day. There's not a lot to this. Most seed saving is kind of like this, and just tickling it out of the little place that it's hiding while it's drying and maturing. Yep, that's about it. That's all she wrote. Easy day. So here's what's left of that. All the seeds are gone, and now down here, let's push them together. Aren't they cute? See, there's a little chafe. I'm not sure what that's called. Anyways, you could probably winnow that out. Just shake it and blow it a little bit. But there's our seeds, looking good. So with the Honeywort, I found that you had to, because they have an explosive mechanism for their seed dispersal, I had to go and kind of collect some. So there was some right along the pathway, which I focused on because I don't really want them coming up the path anyways. I left some that were in the bed, the actual strip where they're supposed to grow. So I'll show you these in detail. And the last thing that I collected was some of these Echinaceas. So these are actually not for seeds. They're not quite ready for seeds out there on the plant. They start to go from green in the centers to looking brown. That's when you know that they're closer. And then you kind of feather these pokey caps and you can get them out. But I harvested these for cold and flu relief. So you've heard of Echinacea. In fact, we were just at the doctor. Poor Forrest has the flu, and he recommended Echinacea. So then I looked all over town for Echinacea before realizing I actually grow Echinacea. So it's really hard to get that to penetrate your brain sometimes, especially if you're still new to it. So I went, duh, okay, I'll go out and harvest some. So for the research that I found was, and you have to do your own research, and I'm not a medical doctor, so I can't prescribe this, but for ourselves,
I feel pretty confident with harvesting the petals and the leaves and drying them to make the tea. The roots, I believe, are also useful, but I am not digging anybody up right now. But they're likely going to be transferred. Probably not all of them, but some of them will transfer down to the cut flower garden. So at some point, I might snag a few roots just for my own little herbal fun. But yeah, so that's what I'm going to be doing, is just taking the leaves and the petals off and then leaving them to dry. You could probably put them in the dehydrator and hasten that, or even stick them in your oven with just the pilot light on if you have a gas oven. No heat, just the pilot light will help hasten that drying.
So there's kind of the close-up of this flower here. I don't know if it's necessary or not, but my thought is to kind of trim off the browned ends. I guess I should look that up, but it doesn't look like it's going to take much time just to kind of pop those off of there. Like that. Let's move this guy over here. There, and then I'm just gonna pull them, drop them on the plate here. And like I said, these are going to be for medicinal purposes, so make sure if you're doing yours, you're not using, you're getting ones that don't have chemicals on them. You don't want to try to fix your poor cold and then make it worse because you have chemicals on here. So I'm not sure, honestly, I just kind of ripped that leaf off. I'm not sure if, as far as the leaves go, and I'll wash these after I harvest them. I'm not sure if the leaves should be separate from the flowers or if the tea is both. So I'll look into that. If you are interested in the medicinal side of some of these things, that's definitely something that we can talk about at some point. I keep a pretty good apothecary out here. Live plants that have plenty of potential for picking. I do pick and dry a lot of stuff every year, so if you're into that, I'll probably show you a little bit of what I'm doing like I am now, and then we can go from there. So that's all that's left right now, is just these little seed heads. So I might leave these and set them aside and see if they develop into usable seeds. I'm not sure if that's a thing or not. So that's what we're looking at. I think the seeds develop in there. It's probably not. I'm going to go with not. But I'll look into it and we'll talk about it later.
Well, thank you for joining me with all these seed saving bits. Some were definitely new to me, so I'm really excited to see how they come out. It seemed pretty straightforward on the collection of them. Basically, if you know what the seed looks like, or you can Google what the seed looks like, and Google how to collect the seed, you can do it. It's usually not all that complicated. Very few of them are real hard, especially if they are labeled. On the packet, lots of times it'll say will self-sow. If it's going to self-sow, like, it's easy. It's easy to grab those seeds. So this is just the start. I have a ton more. I collect seed from nearly everything. I have a vast seed bank, and that's how I was able to spend a bit less money working on the U-Pick flower farm, is because I already had a ton in stock. You've seen the openings if you've watched some of our previous ones. The unboxings show what I was buying, which was a good amount, but less than we would have, because I have a ton. In fact, I still have some of our older seed that I'll probably be sowing here in the next few weeks, just to see if we can get another crop going for later in the season. Because sometimes things like zinnias, bachelor's buttons, some of those really can be very good if you sow them again, and you'll get a whole nother batch from them. I'm not sure about the bachelor's buttons. That'll be a little trial we'll check out. But zinnias for sure, sunflowers for sure. So we're going to do those. I'll probably sow some more scabiosas, some more gaillardias. I think we'll probably have
a little sit down and look through all of the seeds, because at this point I got a little lost in the sauce because of how much seed sowing we did. So I really need to do a whole inventory of my seeds, look at what I've got for each, and evaluate that to what we felt like was successful as far as growing. I mean, this burplium yeah, I think it's burplium. I'm probably saying it all wrong, but whatever. Anyway, this was brand new to me. I really did like the way that it looked. I think, sorry, I'm itchy now. I think part of what will be better for next year is that it's going to self-sow. So when things self-sow, they're already in place over through fall and through winter to start making the little seeds. So they're the right size at the right time for them to really be their best selves. So these ones, I probably put them in too late. I think they probably will like it better when they're naturalized. I guess, I don't know if that's the word I want to use here, but when they're self-sowing, I think it's definitely going to be better. So it'll be exciting to take these down. And so I'll probably do these in September or October down at the flower farm. Just denote a little strip that's going to be future burplium, and same with the Honeywort and several others. These really were just trials this year. I like the way they looked, and I think they were really cool, and I think they'll be great for the flower farm, and they'll be perfect for greenery earlier in the season. So our big goal at this point, since we've got this far into the season, seeing the effects of not having sowed the previous winter, and or not planting right after first frost for certain things, makes us really know it's going to be all about looking at the calendar, getting things in place so that they're where they need to be when they need to be there. So it'll be exciting for things like this and the Honeywort to just have in place. And so in spring and fall, they start to make babies, and then they're going to grow perfect. And then also for things like snapdragons, a big one. What I'm reading for the vast majority of snapdragons is that what we want to be doing is probably starting seed in August or September, early September, mid-August, and sowing them so that they're ready to plant out in like October, November. And then they'll overwinter, hopefully, if it's not a crazy winter, which who knows at this point with this weather. They should overwinter and then make amazing flowers in early-ish spring. Last year, my snapdragons, that's what I had done, is I had planted in fall, and then the spring, they were amazing. They were a great gap flower for like that early spring spot where it's like there's something, I mean, you're not really having the blooms of like daffodils and my narcissus and bulb plants. Those kind of are waning as the snapdragons take over, and then you got a stair step of things that take over from that, with the pinnacle to me being the zinnias that really start going in June. So our big thing is going to be trying to make as many steps towards having things self-sow, because planting is a lot of work. Having as many perennials as possible that just stay there. They're always there every year after year, and then you just replace a few plants as time goes. And just focusing overall on sustainability as far as things that make it easy for us, things that make it better for them, and get everybody where they need to be. So hopefully this is helpful information. If you've got any questions, or there's any particular flower that you want to see me break down the collection of, leave that down in the comments, and hopefully if I have them, I'll get to them. If not, well, then maybe I need to be planting that thing. So thanks for joining us here, and we will see you next time. Watch us grow.